Hello everybody, Coach Contento here in beautiful Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Our first nice warm weekend of the year. Thank you. I'm going to talk to you today about chipping. Chipping is a very simple motion, but everybody comes to me and they've made it so complex by adding all these moving parts and hinges and flips. So let's see if we can get this to be a very simple stroke so you can make more chips and knock it closer. Alright, if you have a lot of trouble and you tend to hit the ground behind the ball or you blade it, I'll show you one of my favorites. Got a little short chip, people come there and they try to help it into the air. Next thing you know, you have a 50-yard chip coming back the other direction. It's all because we're trying to help the ball into the air. There is no point in this game, with the exception of possibly a lob shot, that we ever want to allow the club head to pass the hands prior to impact. So my suggestion is to make a very simple motion chip. I call it a chip putt. The reason why is it's just like putting, except you're using a much more lofted club. Simplify it even further by learning to use only 2 clubs. I tell my students I would prefer they just use a gap wedge, which is 50 to 52 degrees aloft, and an 8-iron. Anything inside about 20 feet, you will use your most lofted club, and beyond that, learn to use your 8. The reason is, the more you use just 2 clubs, you'll have a much better idea how the ball reacts coming off the club face for these. Now, the details are in the setup for a chip putt. You're going to take a putting grip. So you're going to grip down on this club so that the toe of the club actually sits down. The reason why is if I have this sitting flat and I'm going through thick grass, it has to plow its way through. The entire bottom of the club actually has to go through the grass. If you tilt it up this way slightly, you have a much smaller footprint. So very little of the club has to go through and it'll glide through the grass better. Also, it allows you to get closer so that your eyes are a little more on top of the ball. So I've got about a 20-foot chip here. I have my gap wedge. I'm going to actually take my putting grip. I use a little overlap. So I'm going to get here. The toe of the club heads down. My eyes are a little more over it. I'm going to have the ball centered, and this is very important. You want your lead shoulder to be slightly lower. The reason for this is having your shoulders tilted allows the club to make a much steeper arc on the way back and come down into the back of the ball. We don't want to be back behind it because, again, this is that little flip and help motion. And then you want to just tell yourself, if I was on the green, how hard would I actually make this putt? So go back through the same pre-shot routine that you would for a putt. So I'd step up here, I got my putting grip. It's about as hard as I would hit it. I'm going to aim it, making sure that my lead shoulder is lower, and that I just make simple putt. Can't make them all, but I'll take that every single time. For your longer chips, just change clubs. Again, it's the same mental process as you go through. You're still going to use the same amount of energy that you would if you were putting. You're going to use an 8-iron instead. So I have a 40-foot chip going uphill now. Again, toe of the club down, take my putting grip, left shoulder lower, and then I'm just going to putt. Of course, I hit the only ball that's on the green. Do it again. And up it rolls. Little tap in. Very simple motion. Give it a try. I think it'll save you some strokes. Thank you.